We are live. We are live.
Now we're live.
There you
I'm
go.
going to start that all over again. We got to do this all over again, brother. Okay.
Do you ever look out into the vast sea of the universe? And challenge even your own imagination? You don't think we're alone, do you? When you hear that the government is doing something, you always believe it, don't you? We are your third eye. This is Chasing Prophecy. Challenging your beliefs and pushing the boundaries of your imagination. If it's unexplained, we're talking about it. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, we cover everything from political mayhem and tyranny to alien abductions and paranormal phenomena. You are not alone. This is the Chasing Prophecy radio program. And now your hosts, Jenny Nicasio and Sean Kelly.
Hey, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Let me straighten out my camera. I want you to welcome you all to Chasing Prophecy. This is my first time setting up the show, and I guess I'm screwing up a little bit, but you know what? That's okay, right, Michael?
That's right. It's the first time for everything, and failures included. But welcome in, everybody, from the East Coast to the West Coast and beyond.
There we go. Got it. And this is Chasing Prophecy show. Jenny, she's still on a sabbatical. Jenny, we miss you. Hope you come back pretty soon. But we are on 105.3 New Orleans and 107.7 Mississippi. So we got a good show for you tonight. We got a good guest tonight. I did a podcast with him on Sunday night on Michael's show. And I brought him on tonight, and I'm really excited to really get to know him more personally. And then we're going to talk whatever's going on in our minds. Had a great day today, and I'm here with you all. Michael, how was your day today?
You know what? There's nothing better than waking up to a blue sky. And we had them for a little bit here in Pittsburgh. As you know, you're from Pittsburgh yourself. So, yeah, it was kind of nice. I got some things done, and I hope everybody out there in America and beyond, to all our friends and followers, please share and subscribe. Also, while I'm thinking of that, it was pretty nice for me. And I just had dinner recently. I'm all filled up. The eyes are rolling to the back of my head. You know how that goes. It's just like Easter all over again.
Yeah, I know. It was such a beautiful day, and unfortunately, sir, I had to work.
Yeah,
and so it was like, well, you got to work outside. I'm stuck in a meat room, fluorescent
no, actually,
lights.
I was actually inside too. I was trying to take care of something that has been a dilemma and somewhat of a problem in my life. And finally, I was able to open the door that I had bolted shut, and I shoved these appliances out the door as far as I could. So it was inside basically, but I was outside for a few. I did get some running in today, half and half. I did 3 miles. I did, I'm an old guy. I don't want to overdo it. I just don't. But I did 3 miles, so it was like half and half. So I walked it, I ran it. Some of these hills in Pittsburgh, as you know, could be quite difficult.
Oh my God, yeah. What's the name of that street off at 28 going up 20? When you go at 28, that's that real steep hill. It's like the steepest in America almost. You know which one I'm talking about.
Katanning Street or Pigshit Hill?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, one of them.
That's one of the nicknames for one of them. As weird as it may sound, that's what they call it here. I don't know if it's an old Polish thing or an old Irish thing, but people call it the Pig Crap Hill. So
Yeah.
nevertheless, yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to talk to Boyd again. He was fun to have on the show Sunday night with you and I, and we talked a lot of topics. We actually had some comments. Some people said we may not have gotten into enough depth on some of the topics. You know, we were all over the place just having fun, getting established in that landmark of Facebook heaven, if you want to call it that. Some of the questions did come in last night for you, if you care to answer any for these great people tonight. We're a little bit into the paranormal because we were talking about it. So some information came in that way. Maybe we can address it later in the show, or we'll save it for the following episode that we do.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So let's. Holly says it's Rialta Street. Thanks, Holly. She's my friend.
Rialta Street.
Rialta Street.
Okay.
Now
I thought I knew Pittsburgh. Where have I been?
I don't know. But
thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. Now, here's our guest. Boyd Townsend is a musician and a songwriter who played on several Christian albums. In addition, he and his wife hosted the internet show Redemption TV for 3 years while living in Thailand. You can view those shows on Rumble, BitChute. He is the author. I want to talk some about this. He's an author of Believe the Best About Yourself in Your Life and Living Beyond Childhood Trauma, recently released on Amazon and Audible. And without further ado, here is Mr. Boyd. Welcome, Boyd.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Peace and love, man. To everybody.
Yeah. Is that what your book's about? Peace and love?
Well, it is. It's about finding peace and love after you are talked to pretty badly as a kid. And I know we all get disciplined and all that, but there's one thing to be disciplined and another thing to be just verbally, knocked down constantly, that kind of thing.
So what?
But that's what the book's about. Basically recovering from that constant feeling of you're not good enough, that you're told you're always compared to other people, like your cousin wouldn't do that. How come you're doing that? Like, it was always just stuff like that. And when you're young, between the ages of 1 and 7, that stuff really builds up in your head, and it's hard to overcome because it goes right into your subconsciousness. So.
Wow. Yeah. What? You know what? I mean, if I may, just for a second, then I'll so Sean can do an interview with you here. That is so absolutely correct on all the research that I've done, that those points of, and that goes without to say on the hugest platform of everything, closer in consciousness, closer to what was before and what's now in this life. And the fact that the brain at that point in time, from the research shows and everything that we find out, the brain on young people, beautiful young people, are like a sponge. And that's the most influential time in their lives.
Right. It's in theta waves. From the ages of 1 to 7, we're in theta waves, which is almost like a dreamlike state. So everything we're hearing and everything people are saying to us just kind of just gets absorbed into our subconscious. And we actually run off our subconscious like 95% of the day, believe it or not, because we're on autopilot way more than we realize. And we're only conscious maybe 5% of the time when we have to be, when we're actually having to think out a problem. But when we're driving, when you're driving, are you really thinking? You're just kind of zipping down the road, right? You're not really,
you drive and you don't even know where you're going. And that happened to me a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just thinking that, man, how did I get here? I don't remember going through those 2 red lights.
Right? Yeah.
Seriously.
No, it's true. It makes me wonder,
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Now, Boyd, question to ask you here. What got you into writing books, writing the 2 books? What actually got you into it?
I've been a writer for a long time. I wrote songs. And then I used to do stand-up comedy. I wrote stand-up comedy for a comedian named Mark Eddy. And I used to do stand-up comedy. I edited one of his albums. So I've always been a writer of some sorts. And my mom just recently came down with Alzheimer's, like very badly. And she's 88 years old. And it just made me start reflecting back on why I am the way, and all this different things on why I am the way I am, and a lot of things that happened in childhood. And so I wrote a book about overcoming childhood trauma, because I think my mother went through that and passed it along. And I just think this cycle needs to be broken at some point, as much as I love her, but
I agree.
it's just sad.
I totally agree with you with that. Now, and it's the same way when I was growing up. How old are you, Boyd? May I ask?
I'm 61.
Okay, I'm 60. Mike is in his 60s too. I don't want to. 64. Mike's 64. So
Old people.
So back then, right?
Yeah.
Back then, it's how we were taught, right?
To a large degree, yeah.
Yeah. Now, my question to you, and this just popped into my head. Okay. So we're very vulnerable between the ages of 1 and 7. Okay. Now I come from an Irish Catholic family, and they loved it. And oh, good, you're fit right in. So they love to drink. Okay. So our perception of seeing all these people in our families drinking like crazy, do you think it had a subconscious thinking in our brains?
You know what? That's what's first of all, my dad's name is Townsend, so he was English. My mom's Irish. Her last name is O'Malley. You can't get much more Irish.
Oh
than
my
O'Malley.
God, dude.
So, but I was brought up and went to Catholic school for 8 years. But my parents never drank. My parents never smoked. But what they did was fight constantly.
Yes.
And
yes,
they just
yes.
yell. And they just tore us down. And it wasn't just me. It was like, I have 3 sisters. They were just brutal. It was just vicious. And like, they would throw shoes at you, and they were sober. So thank God they didn't drink. But
Right.
I'm just saying, it was like,
nah, understood. Lived it. Understood.
Lived it too, brother.
And I think the comparison, honest to God, like it was always like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Your cousin so-and-so wouldn't do that. So it was like that kind of it. So I always felt like, wow, they're a lot better. They're better than me. What's wrong with what? Because it was always, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Like that.
Exactly.
And that stuff, as much as that sounds like weak or something, and so a lot of people succeed anyhow, and I've done pretty good in life, but that stuff just sits in the back of your brain, and you almost sometimes feel like an imposter. Like,
Right.
am I really okay? Am I really just to overcome that? Finally,
Now, I remember
It's
when
not
my
easy.
old man. I remember when my old man was alive, and he drank a lot, but he also gambled too. But he
my
drank.
dad loved to gamble. Yeah.
Oh my God.
There you go.
And but he said to me one night, and he was drunk, and he said, you're not going to make nothing out of your life, and you're just going to be living on the streets as a bum for the rest
Doesn't
of
that
your
just
life.
cut you to the?
And I was
heart?
like 17, 18 at the time when he said that.
Okay, well, that's
You know
even
what I mean?
still, yeah.
But still,
When they say that to you when you're 8, that's even worse. But that's
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Anyhow,
but I went out to prove to him, okay, that no, it's not going to happen. I will say this: I am a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober 32 years, coming up on 32
Awesome.
years. Thank you.
Congratulations.
But
Way to go, man.
I see how the alcoholism, and it just hit on me. Just watching at a very young age, okay,
Yeah.
at a very young age, watching my family getting drunk, and screaming and yelling and all
Right.
that kind of nasty stuff. But I wanted, when my son was born, I wanted to break that cycle, okay?
Sure.
Because in my family, you never said that you love them. You know what I mean? You never heard that word love. Never.
Same
Never
here.
heard it.
Never, ever.
And I made a promise to my son. I made a promise to God, and I promised myself. I said, I'm going to tell my son every single day of his life that I love him. Okay. And I did. And I still do it today. But here's the coolest part. One story I'd like to share with you on that. And this is how, my persistence with telling him that I love him. One day we were talking on the phone and we hung up. He called me back the next day and he said, no, he called me back like 5 minutes later. And he said, Dad, you forgot something. I said, what's that? I said, I love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he had the
excuse me,
decency. It just gives me real strong, motivation to keep going.
Sure. Well, you broke the cycle though too. So there you go. I said that earlier, and you finally started saying I love you because it was never said, and you did that with your kids. So that's
exactly.
That's
Well,
awesome.
man, we could be stepbrothers here.
Yeah.
Michael, do you have any questions for Boyd?
Wow, you guys are getting into the infamous don't go there topic. Well, this is where like, shh, this is family shit. Be quiet.
Yeah, well.
I can hear Genevieve up in the sky yelling it into my ear right now. But what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not. I know where you're coming from when people tell you you're not going to be anything. I know it. I deserve some of that, of course. But I think I proved myself much different. I think I've taken myself into boundaries and leaps and bounds that they never thought Michael could ever do, and I have. So wherever they are, I hope they can appreciate that. And I do get some of these comments, the bullying, the power, strong arm tactic of what parents were. But again, did it not in some ways strengthen us to be able to break that chain and to develop it in a better way for us to now be able to extend a better form and method into the new generations? At least we're trying the best we can.
Yes.
With some failures, but you must say, when it comes to what probably the trio of us here right now in this moment, I think we've made great improvements on lifestyles between family, because I do tell my children I love them.
Yeah. I always have.
I tell my fan base I love them, and I do. I extend that courtesy to them because I want them to know that is the unity of where we are with life in this world. And that's the real meaning behind it. Not all that bully. I mean, once upon a time, the G-force in Washington's bully, you can't bully. Don't bully. You can't bully. Now we're just being bullied.
Yes,
yeah, but it's okay. It's all right now.
Yes. But you know what?
But that's it. It's okay.
Our goodness will prevail.
Yes, I agree. I don't think we ever deserve to be told we're worthless and we're never going to get
show
anything.
some example.
You had it easy if that's all you heard.
No,
I'm not trying to be at the top of the thing. I would be embarrassed if I repeated some of the things that were blatantly said to me.
I'm not saying everything, trust me.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Well, then, yeah.
I'm being kind here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, when you can pick and choose who you would have rather had as children, that's, it gets into a very, very dark scenario, and maybe even a dark color. If you catch my drift on what I'm trying to say, how much more can you lower somebody's lifestyle by saying I should have had a Keller for a child versus you? And I mean,
yeah, that's pretty brutal.
It is brutal.
They did not understand that they made me the enemy to their state by doing it. But you know what? Again, I've been in places, I've done things. Now I'm reaching out to America and beyond. I think I've got the places that they never thought I would in my life. I've been to Hollywood, Jackie, I did, and I'm happy. That's what's most important.
Yes. And you know what? I'm happy myself, Michael. I'm happy.
And you know what? The only thing we can do, I think, when it comes down to that sourness is, in a way, say, I forgive you. Because if you don't, you're never going to raise your level of and focus of where you need to be.
I agree. I wanted to say this too. Different people are born with different temperaments. And some people I think I'm like way sensitive. Like I hate to say it, I'm a guy. I should be all like nothing but yeah, but I'm sensitive. Stuff gets to me, and some people aren't. There's women who, I'm not just saying because I'm a guy. There's women who things don't bother, and guys who could just take stuff. And it was some people with their temperaments more sensitive, and that kind of stuff can really mess them up. And being talked to when you're young like that. That's what I'm saying. That's all. I think it affects different people differently, depending on the temperament of somebody.
So that was the basis of your writing, focusing,
Yes.
clarifying these things, and how to project from it and how to grow stronger.
Right.
Exactly.
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 Yes, absolutely.
But okay,
We need
so
more like that.
Yeah, we do. I don't know. Well, we can get into that later. Now, I saw that you were in a Christian band. Can you explain what got you into music, and especially Christian music?
Well, when I grew up, I was playing in bars when I was 15 years old. We used to have to bring either my brother-in-law or the bass player's brother-in-law to let us in. So we were in a 3-piece band called Stargazer with my friend Fritz and my other friend Ruck. And so I didn't start out playing Christian music. They would give us pitchers when we were 15, pitchers of beer when we were playing in bars. And I went through the whole thing in high school, smoking weed, taking drugs to some degree, drinking mostly, and all that. And when I was 20, I just had a revelation about God, and I turned to Christ and accepted him, as my savior. I know some people don't like that or whatever, and they think it's weird. To me, it's just, I feel like I have a relationship with him where I talk to him, and I don't hear him verbally speak to me, but I've known God for a while. And I mean, really known him, because I was a Catholic for a bunch of years. Okay. And I didn't know God. I just went to church and did the, follow through the rituals. And hey, if that's something people do, I know there are Catholics who are real Christians too. I'm not making fun of that. I know there's Catholics who are devoted followers of Christians, but that's how I became into a Christian band. I've been playing in bands. I was in a band called Astra. We opened up for Donnie Irish before, who was a pretty big guy. He had hits in the United States, all across the United States at least. And B.E. Taylor was more of a local hit guy. We started opening up for him. So people saw me play guitar and liked me. And when I became a Christian bands started approaching me saying, hey, would you play on our album? And I got to put some of my songs on their album, and I got to play lead and rhythm guitar on 3 different Christian albums. Remnant is one of the bands, which is still around today. They actually changed their name to, I don't remember what they changed the name to right now. Okay. I do know it, but I don't want to dwell on it. And I played in a band called Blonde Bartimaeus, and then I did my own Christian album. So that's how I get into Christian music, was just, I partied too much and just realized I needed God, because that's not how I started out. I just started out playing guitar when I was 12 or 13. And anyhow.
So whenever when you write your songs, do you do it from your heart? Like,
oh yeah, I try to, for sure. It's got to be something you know about, or something that means something to you. Yeah, I mean, you can do formulaic songs, and I've tried to do that, and some of those things become hits. I mean, not from me, but I'm just saying, there's other people who do like silly, like the Macarena or something. I don't think that was from the heart.
Okay.
Remember, you know what I'm saying? But so there are songs that aren't. But yeah, I've always tried to write from the heart. Yeah, absolutely.
From the heart, that's good. Are you writing songs today?
I don't really write songs anymore. I still play guitar, and actually, when we used to do our show Redemption TV, when we were in Thailand, I would sing either a worship song, or I would play a song that I wrote. I wouldn't play it on guitar, but I would play a recording of a song I wrote, like in the intro of the show. So I still do music, and I still love music, but I really don't play that often or write that often. But
Michael, do you have anything to
Yeah. What happened to Norm Nardini?
yeah. And the Tigers. What happened to
So
the Tigers?
listen, all these people you're talking about used to hold my son on their knee and bounce him.
B and
Yeah.
Donnie.
Swear to
Yeah.
God, straight up. Yeah, straight up to heaven. I promise you. And by the way, BE,
Love you. Yeah.
yeah, without a doubt. I'm no, he really was a great guy.
He
You
was.
know, he gave it every effort when he came out to sing, perform, and I had bigger expectations for him. One of the bigger songs that I did like though was Vitamin L. I mean, that kind of was like his, that thing that went along with. But I mean, I've seen them all. I know who they are when it comes to the music and era. Billy Price and everybody, Pittsburgh. West Virginia, Ohio, and whatnot, blues, funk, patchwork.
And how about
Joey Grishecki?
Robert Parisi? Rob Parisi.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
from Mingo, man. That's where I actually am from, and I used to hang out with his. Let me just say it. The day
Are we going
his
to
song
be doing
went,
music all night now? Because I'll be
No,
like,
no, no.
the day his
no.
song went #1, play that funky music. Went
play that
#1.
funky. Well, my brother hung out with Brian Bassett.
No. Rob Parisi.
Yeah, I know,
Play
but
that funky.
play that funky music is Brian
okay.
Bassett.
Okay.
Unless I'm wrong. Am I thinking of no? I know who played that
Play
funky
that
music.
funky
White
music.
boy.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I got my names mixed up here because I am getting old and I got to go into my dictionary
It is
now.
Rob Parisi, man. That's who wrote.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to go into my dictionary here.
It's Rob Parisi. I know him personally.
I don't know how Brian Bass is coming up in my head for some reason.
No,
I
it's
don't know
Rob
either,
Parisi.
but we can continue with the music on another show later on down the road.
Oh, come on. I was getting ready to pull out guitars and stuff.
I
and make
know that.
everything.
I'm waiting for you two to do a duo together or duet.
We can do that.
Yeah. Not on this show. No.
Oh,
Some
no,
other
no,
time.
Some other show. We'll do
Hey,
it
what
on.
are the roles here? I want to know the roles. What's in the contract? I didn't see nothing in the contract that says you can't make yourself look like a butt on TV and that. You know what I mean? We got to have humorism.
Yes.
Yes.
We
You know what? And that is what we're missing in today's world is humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody
You know,
has a
that-
sense of humor anymore.
No one had no one at all. And
Yeah.
I think it got to be and then when you try to be funny, okay, people are like, what are you doing? Like get away from me. There's
get
nothing to
offended.
do with me.
Yeah.
It's
true.
So one more thing about your you said you had a podcast out of Thailand. You lived there for 3 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Can
Almost
I ask
4.
why you were in Thailand?
Yeah. We went there. We sold our house. We had some money, and we were like, let's go live in Thailand for a year. Me and my wife, because it's cheap. It's a cheap place to live, and it's beautiful. We lived in Phuket, which is an island south of Thailand. It's almost like Hawaii. So it's gorgeous, and there's beaches and water and sand, and it was wonderful. So we're like, let's live there for a year. It won't be that expensive, and we'll come home. Well, guess what happened in a year? The big CV.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're like, all right, well, let's ride this out because they were shutting everything down, Well, we rode it out. We ended up being there for 3 years and 9 months, actually. We just got back in November of 2022.
When I was in the Navy,
Yeah,
I
it's crazy.
was in Singapore, dude, and
Yeah.
and I love Singapore. It is beautiful. The food's
Yeah.
good. The people are really friendly too.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed Asia, Southeast Asia.
Asia's
That's what-
beautiful. It really is, especially,
Mhm.
the south of it. Yeah, for sure.
So I want to get to your podcast that you had over there. What was the
Sure,
name
you
of-
asked me why we went. Yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I would like to ask you about the podcast that you had over there.
Well, it started because of what happened. And my wife and I were over there. Neither one of us has a full-time job or anything. So we're like researching. My wife's on Twitter. And we just were like, we should start doing we should start telling people about this. So we started doing going on live on Facebook and doing YouTube. YouTube shut us down like so quick. We had like 17 subscribers, and they just like, they not only shut us down, they wiped everything we ever did off their site. So I mean, they didn't like what we were doing, because we were talking, quite frankly, about politics, and then we were talking about God and faith. And what's the two things you can't talk about? Politics and religion.
You can talk about that on this show, brother.
But no, I'm just saying that we couldn't there. You know what I mean? Because they didn't like that. But that's how we started, man. We were just trying to wake people up, going like, this is, see, I don't want to, I know I can't say a whole lot, but yeah, we had a bad vibe. We didn't believe everything that was being said. So we tried to warn people, and we saw it coming, and we found evidence, video. We used to play videos on our show and show people, and read articles, and me and my wife would talk, and, you know, we just try to warn people, and we kept doing that. We did it strong for a couple years, and then towards the end, we would do it like a couple times a week, or sometimes I would do it myself. But we did it clear up to almost right before we left, which was October. We left on Halloween of 2022. That's when we left to come home. And it takes 32 hours, 29 to 32 hours to fly from where we were to Pittsburgh. So,
are you in Pittsburgh now?
Yeah, I'm in Pittsburgh now.
Oh man, 3 of us should go and get some. Like
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
But well, I totally understand where you're coming from with your podcast and how they eliminated you. There's some things that we are not allowed to say on here because we're just not allowed to. But we can talk about religion, and we can talk about the government, and we're going to go into the government pit. I'm ready for this.
All right.
And what's going on. But
bring it on.
If people wanted to get a hold of you for anything, how would they get a hold of you?
Probably the best way is, all right, this is an email. It's BET, BET, POPPY, KIKI, 2 at Gmail. I know that's long. But
that is a long one, brother.
That's my initials, my cats, and my 2 cats' name with the 2 by it. So.
There, what it is. What I'll do is I'll type it into the chat here for you. What is it?
Or you know what? Even on Facebook, if somebody could message me on Facebook, and if I'll answer you. I look at most of that stuff I get, and if it seems legit, I'll answer somebody. You know.
Right. We're all on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you get a hold of any one of us,
just Boyd Townsend on Facebook.
Yeah,
you know, so.
No doubt. We'll get you in contact if you'd like to find out more about his book, or maybe you're interested in buying one of his songs and so forth, things like that. I mean,
well, it's on Audible and Amazon. So if you just look up Boyd Townsend or B.E. Townsend, you could find it. So no problem.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
But thank you for sharing a little bit about your personal life and, you know, your thoughts and stuff.
Sure.
But the three of us were talking before the show came on, and Michael brought something up and about South Korea. Was it, Michael?
Okay, so these guys are geniuses. You know, on the backdrop, they watch everything in America that goes on. They watch all our moves, and they had a lot of interest with the moon. And they were watching things. They probably know the things that we know, like John Lear's original photos that NASA didn't have a chance to blur and so forth. David Wilcox's information that came out many years ago on this whole thing. But plus, here's the funniest thing before I get into this. But we are talking about the moon and glass structured domes and ruins on the moon. Well, they created something called a polar type camera. And funny, when this started to get released into the public, although it was out for a while, but then people started to write and want to do lectures on it. Biden was on stage where everybody looked at him like he was the most mentally retarded human being possible. Ice cream, fall off the bike, Joe, up the steps, down the steps, roll down, Joe. And he's talking about men on the moon. And he's bringing this whole topic up. Now, here's the funny thing that I put together on it. I started finding out about this mission, this 1,500-pound module being shot. It went up in September through December. It was going around 2022, going around the moon, getting all the GPS coordinates and pinpointing and taking shots everywhere, and getting the light shades, figuring out the lenses that they sent up, using technology to do it. And isn't it funny now? And this is just coming out. It's great. Pictures are going to be coming out everywhere that there are dome structures all over the moon. All over the moon. And maybe that's why Buzz, in fact, kept saying, didn't want to say anything, and thought maybe to say to the public, well, we were never there, was the easy way out of not saying, I ain't got nothing to say.
Okay. So,
Because
like, basically, he was told.
We have a country working with NASA that's saying this is okay for Korea to dump this drip, and they have. And it's gonna blow people away, because it verified everything that we've been thinking about for years. When we look out of the Earth to Mars, faces, pyramids, structures, lights coming, UFOs going into the moon. Now, I'm not saying that we have aliens. I'm not saying that, but we are seeing things like that. Is this actual art? I don't know. But when you have Buzz saying these things, and now we have all these pictures coming out, and it seems like NASA's giving the thumbs up, let it drip. And Joe even came out. If anybody looks and watches Joe on Facebook or TikTok and some of these things, you might be aware of this video that he did. He looked, when you see the expression on his face, he was like, no, I really saw the man on the moon. I mean, he was there. So how close did Korea share with the United States as far as the intel of all these pictures? I don't know. But I do know that we have a couple rock stars out there. There's going to be some really great interviews on Coast to Coast, our friends, neighbors next to us doing the same thing like we're doing here. And I think you're going to be hearing a lot on it. There is things there. I'm just going to say that and let the rest of the drip and let the explosion occur where it may, because I'm still filtering in information. But what I am stating here is factual fact of truth. That they done this, they accomplished this, they have pictures of it, and again, it's just part of what I think of a humanity drip.
And to me, they're just holding that back from us. All this information. It's the moon, my God. What's on the moon that is like so important? I mean, and this is where I have a problem with when you try to ask and talk about the moon to other people or to scientists, okay, they kind of brush you off like, we don't want to talk to you about that.
I don't want to forget, the thought just came into my head. For everybody out there, this is a worldwide thing that everybody needs to know. This camera that was created, okay, to do what they call lunar picturing is called a polar remetric camera, REMITTRIC, remetric. To keep that in mind. That's also going to show you rings on the moon, but don't look at the rings, because as we know, when you look at it, it's basically fog, meaning like flat. It's not a glimmer. But again, when you guys see what's coming out and how the technology that they sent up there got these pictures, this is going to go back to what everything, like I said, that John Lear was talking about with his pictures. That means it was all true. NASA knew things. There's no doubt about it. And I'm sure the higher ups, maybe some presidents actually knew about it too. But right now, you can't control what South Korea is doing, and they're dumping the information.
Boyd, do you want to put your 2 cents in there, bud?
Well, I don't know much about that. I was telling you guys right before we came on. For my wife and I were out on the back porch last night, and these things were so high up. Like there was like little lights so high up, and they were moving pretty fast. And I don't look for UFOs. I've only seen some stuff like that a couple times in my life. My wife goes, "Look at that. What is that?" And we saw like 5 of them, and they weren't far behind. And they were moving way faster, and they were way up higher than any plane. And they weren't bright. They were almost luminescent, but there was still light coming from them. But it was, I don't know. There's something going on. That's what I guess that's what I'm saying. There's definitely something going on that we don't know about for sure.
And back to the moon, like that is his name Richard Lear? Is that you said his name is?
John Lear.
John Lear. He's the one that got
his father was the creator of the Lear jet. John was somebody who did a lot of flight flying of new modification of aerodynamic planes and so forth. I think he test drove probably the most in the world during his career at that time. He's no longer with us. We lost him about 3 years ago. He went through some difficulties.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but what's so special about the moon? I'll tell you. I'll tell you
grass on it.
I tell you what. I will tell you
Just
this,
saying.
and I've overheard this, that there is more energy released by the moon than there is the sun. I've heard that by many people.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of theories on it. I'm not an expert to everything. I research. I love being able to share stuff when I know it's coming out. It's possibly. I mean, look, the ancients told us there was no moon in the sky, and then 12,500 or so. And I'm going to be having a guest on America Disclosing Uncensored soon. Maybe she'll be able to put some weight into this. A brilliant young lady that writes books also. The moon just appeared. It was not even written about. And then 12,500 years ago, it made its debut, so to speak. Now, I'm just saying, some people say the Earth is a prison planet. Some people say the moon was towed into place. Some people say the moon was actually created by other beings. Was it a rock already there and they got into it, figured it? I don't know. And maybe from what we're understanding here, if you can't hold an atmosphere, but you can create domes 50 miles up into the atmosphere and seal it, and somehow be able to devise a system of sustainability with oxygen, nitrogen, whatever the combinations are that this alien civilization may have needed. I don't know. But right now, what we're seeing is there are good parts and bad parts of these structures from what the pictures show. And again, I'll say it quietly, but I really do think the person that was telling me about this said you might be even more fascinated to know that there's grass on the surface in some areas.
My friend Sean G. In fact, Sean's going to be on my show at 10 o'clock into the night. I'm looking forward to it. Good dude.
Hello, Sean. How are you?
He has questions. He goes, I haven't figured out what the moon is with flat earthers. Is it a balloon?
The moon?
Yeah.
As a flat, wow. I'm from everything that I'm sharing right now, I would weigh against the moon being anything like that. I would think it has some type of substance and solidness to it. As far as Earth being flat, there's a lot of really good analogies to think about with that. I mean, look, if I was to take this water, and this is Earth, all right, and I take this and I put it on, I mean, the water, if I pour it, it's not going to lay, you know what I mean? It's going to roll off. So where does everything go? If you think if we're covered in 2/3 of water, wouldn't all the water go to one side? I'm just saying, it just seems weird to me. I mean,
Because of gravity. I mean,
no,
supposedly.
gravity
I
could
don't
not hold all that weight. We know that scientifically that
know.
wouldn't work. But I get where you're coming from, and I'm sorry for that. But I mean,
No,
all right,
that's it. I mean,
I
I'm
don't.
just saying.
Here's the thing: I don't know everything, but
You know,
all right, let's say China's on the other side of the world, on the other side. Do you ever see a plane have to do a deep dive and twist to
No,
No, you
no,
don't. When you think with logic, I mean, for me, I try to, I really do. Water would not be, as it is. I mean, I think we would see a different type of reaction to how and what works because we know gravity can hold us down, but can it hold everything down? Who knows? Who
who
knows?
knows?
Who
But
knows?
yeah.
okay, I want to stop here for real quick. Everybody out there who's listening to our show, and everybody who is in the comments, um, if you have a topic that you would like us to discuss about, please, put it in the comments, or you can get me at the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page to send me a message, and we can put it on. How could somebody get a hold of you, Michael, for the same thing?
Well, the easiest way to get me is most people try to get me on Messenger through Facebook, and I can be gotten there under Michael Anthony. Just as it sounds, that's how it's spelled. You can get me there with Facebook on Messenger. I do get messages every day. If I don't get to you within the first day, usually I do within the second 24. So I do answer everybody because everybody's important to me. I got love for everybody. And I just enjoy what we talk about, all these great topics and the research. Teach us. We'll try to help share knowledge we have with you. That's
Yes.
the whole setup of what the show's about with me and Sean. And again, I got big shoes to fill here with Miss Jenny. So
Yeah, I know
I
you.
gotta come home. Or just like, but no, I mean, really, theoretically, when you look at things, if water falls and it always goes to the bottom, it finds its way through every crack to the bottom, and then before settling. I just don't understand how when we look at the Earth that it. And isn't it funny that Universal Pictures was using the same pictures of the Earth, the circular Earth, as we're being shown now by NASA, and that happened in the 40s.
Wow. Do you have anything to say there, boy?
No, I just know we've been lied to a whole lot about almost everything. I don't trust. You know what? I find it disturbing. I don't even trust things. You know how you'll hear an amazing thing like, oh, back in history in 1914 today or something, this guy did this or this woman did this or something. And I'm like, yeah, did they really? I doubt I seriously doubt everything. And I just, because once again, when me and my wife were doing all that research, when we started doing those shows, we found so many holes and so many things in history that I don't know. I really don't know for sure what's going on and what's truth and what's fiction. And I know we've been preemptively programmed to what they want us to believe. They always preemptively programmed us to believe there was going to be a dystopian future, didn't they? Remember that, like Out of New York or whatever that, like all those old movies from the 70s and 60s. Like, oh, there's going to be we're going into a dystopian world. And then they brought in a dystopian world, but they're intentionally doing it. But they always tell you what they're going to do years before they actually do it. And who are they? I call them the cabal. You can call them whatever you want. I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
We have a lot of nicknames for them, and I think what we're dealing with is roughly 150 to 200 very, very wealthy people on one side of 1%. But I also believe there is a different side of 1% out there that are elites that don't get mentioned, who could possibly be jamming up a lot of the narrative that's being fed. I'm not sure how it's all working, and I'm not going to say a lot on it at this point, but yeah, we've been lied to. I think we can all agree to that. When we look at
Yeah.
everything, education, and more, um, there's a lot of valid points to it all. And I think people are doing their homework, they're doing their research more than ever before. And I
I
hope
agree.
that the things that we talk about actually enlighten some of and help them into their future for future development. Because and we're never going to know in this lifetime, I think, everything that we want to know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we stop. You know, it doesn't mean we stop.
So it's all with the power that, they won't tell us a lot of stuff. And I'll say the government, I don't care. They don't tell us everything. What
Mm.
And is it all because of the money? This is all new to me, guys. So is
All
it
right,
all about the money?
I'll make a comment that Eisenhower started a program that was basically the need to know, and that's where that all started. Then he came up with a committee of why he was doing it and the narratives that they would be in charge of. That's when that all started to take place. So if you go back and do research around that platform of Eisenhower, you'll find some credible information. And that's what stopped the feed of the information. And that's who started. Then the CIA came into the picture, which was not even, I don't even look at them as all these 3 and 4 letter law enforcement and agencies out there are just part of the C, the big C that you mentioned. There's no doubt about it. Beware of who they are. Like, I was going off a show the other day and I did something in a fashion that I normally don't, where Reagan says, "Hello, I'm from the government." And if you believe that, run as fast as you can.
Yeah, I'm here to help you.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, if you're from the CIA, run. If you're from the DOJ, run. And furthermore, if you get any other people knocking on your door, STD them and run. And I'm not going to. I'll let you guys figure out what them 3 initials stand for.
3-letter agencies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It all comes down to what you need to do is, hey, keep your families close. We're in bad times, and look, our food, our water, the air. I mean, it's nuts. No matter which way we look, these people were brilliant, and they publicized their plan. Even the was it the John D. Rockefeller where they had Project Lockstep, that where it actually talked to these ends of times coming. The thing is, I think that we're up against, and this goes back to John Ventry being on one night, and I was started wheeling, and he said biblical and 100% on. Their beliefs go before our religions. And that's because their beliefs were being practiced before religions were ever put in place. They just have a different theory and they want it all back. Whether you're seeing rainbows and Lucky Charms all over the world now becoming terrorists, or Black Lives Matter or Antifa, it doesn't matter. This is the initiative of the agenda. And when we in Tennessee, of the people, removed 2 people for wrongfully using their power of position and were dismissed from it, Carmela Harris ran to them, to their sides, to these people. But she won't do it for you at the border to protect your child. She won't do it for you to stop drugs. As a matter of fact, they started programs to give help for people on drugs that would only help them do more drugs. Not to cure the problem, but to help the problem along. And we've seen that time and time again through history, through military. It's a hook and barter chase. It's what it is in my mind. But, here we are. I'm going to stop and let Sean take it.
Okay. Before we go on, I'd like to thank our sponsor for the second hour of Chasing Prophecy, Carnation. Thank you, Carnation, for sponsoring our other hour. And again, thank you guys. Appreciate it. But it's just like what I see out there and what's been happening with transgenders. And now, it just seems like the media puts certain types of people, I'm not going to say certain types of transgenders who are going out wanting to shoot people up and all this, but there's the other people who are transgenders that just don't really like what the media is putting out there. Do you know what I mean? So all this crap that's
Yeah.
going on right now, um, you know, it's all about the media. See, I have, and I tell this to everybody, I have a little saying on it. I will respect what you believe. Please respect what I believe.
Right.
And,
You know, I'm
right,
sorry, again. No, I
go
was just
ahead,
gonna say, they want us to feel like they're the majority. So they keep feeding this stuff to us, like that's the majority of people want a transsexual, doing commercials for Bud Light. That's what the world wants. That's what America wants. They want us to believe that, and most of us don't believe that. There's not that many people who even are into that, or I don't even want to say into that, or whatever you want to call it, but there's not that many people like that. So most people don't want that, but they pretend, and they also pretend like most people like Bidonius, you know what I mean? And everybody knows it's a bunch of crap. But they just want us to feel overwhelmed. They're in control, and there's more of them than there is of us, and that's a complete lie. Most of the world is still sane. We're just being fed a bunch of crap by insane people who want to intimidate us and keep us in fear and lock us down and control us. And I sincerely believe that. It's not what it appears to be.
I believe the same thing with the media. And do you know what's funny, guys? I haven't heard no happy news at all for a long time. Any of y'all? There's no happy news out there.
Not that they want to promote.
I mean, if there's any happy news out there, the media is not showing it. And I want some happy news. I'm tired of all the crap that they are putting out there for their narrative, and it's just like it gets my ears shut, Michael. It does.
Oh, I understand. It gets me up in an uproar too. I think we can all agree to that because we're living within a weaponized environment of a political agenda and component to control it. And that's where it goes to. Like you said, what do you hear? You only hear the things that narrates to them. The media is now in place to generate information to be delivered to the opposition, not to us, we the people. Right. We are the ones that are guilty of white systemic, whatever they call, and
racism. Even though there's not, we don't even. What have we done? What have white people done where it's been some attack on people? I don't even know. I mean, what are they talking about?
But you know what? Isn't it fascinating that this all came about from a group of white guys in Washington?
Right.
Isn't that fascinating?
They're making a bunch of money off of saying that. How about that?
Exactly. But that's where we're at. And that's what we're all tolerating and fighting. So the media is only going to deliver. And as we know, how the components of the structure work is when the rich owns this, that, and the other, they control this, that, and the other on us. And even when people say, well, our Constitution says, one, and this is for two, the right to bear arms, and one is for the voice. And, yes, but try using them freely. You cannot. But
they're not supported. They're not supported by the court system or, the law. Half the police will support things that they shouldn't be. I mean,
you're right.
I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right.
You're totally right.
Departments are divided.
Yeah,
they really are. And so when you get to that point, it's bad.
Oh, that's real bad.
Yeah. There's going to be judgment upon anybody, even if you make a call in need of help, lawful help. You may get the guys that have the other narrative, and you don't know. And this is between you and them. I'm out of here. Well, he's got a gun pointed at me. Well, this is between you and them. I'm out of here. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to get. That's the other fear factor that's in place now. Police don't know how to use their authority.
Well, they should stick to upholding the Constitution and following the law.
Well,
but others don't do. Some don't do that. You know, it's like.
But they're told not to do that. They're told.
Right. Yeah, but they don't have to listen, man. You can tell me all kinds of stuff, and if I don't believe it, I ain't gonna do it.
Exactly.
I mean, you know what I mean.
It comes down to the common sense factor. Yeah. But again, these people were being imprisoned for defending. These people were told to stand down while the true insurrection occurred across America, and it wasn't at the Capitol. I mean, we've seen those videos. I have parts of those, Sean. I think I sent you some clips, even of a tape of the plan of the banks.
Yes.
I mean, I had to ask myself after watching the one video, who's running this country? AOC talked to the president like he was a piece of
crap.
And she did.
Yeah.
And she called him out. Do something about this. But it wasn't to do something about it for us. It was about do something to arrest every person that went to that rally up there that day. Every single person she wanted in jail. You know, when you see the Hitler come out of her. And then you got Omar, who does the same thing, who's married to her own brother in this country. Imagine that. And then you have Maxine Waters, who was creating GoFundMe and provoking people to get into the streets and fight. And then you have, Mrs. K, I'll say, because I don't want to use the wrong name, but you know who K is next to be the VP up there, coming in and weighing on, and this is not going to stop, and we're not going to stop, and this is not going to stop, and we're not going to stop. And I have those videos as well, and if they sicken me to see it, but that's the agenda. And all I've ever said to everybody, what's the cure? We have guys out there like Derek Johnson who come up with these. And I'm not saying that his theories aren't plausible and don't have some validation to them. But when you have an injustice system through the military, there may not be anything to get anything done unless you go under presidential actions of emergency declarations, which is secret papers that even Congress can't see, and his own private military as JSON. And if you look into that, maybe there is something.
I think that's going on. What you just said. Like
okay.
Continuity of government, and it is private.
Yes.
And I pray to God there's a lot of reasons. Like I said, my wife and I did a lot of research. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of things I've seen to believe that's very possible.
Well, look at one thing that makes all that fact come true, guys. And I'll quit and let you guys, go through this.
I do have a question for you, Mike.
Capitol Police, they have that secrecy of how they can respond and react, and that's why nobody charged anybody with Ashley Babbitt's fatal moment.
I don't even know if she's dead. I don't. I saw. There's a video out. There's a couple videos out there. Man, it looks staged. I don't. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I don't want to be rude, but it might have been staged. It might have been staged.
I think when you have two presidents of countries come out, one being Putin, making the statement who did the act, and then you have President Trump who brings a parent to a rally, acknowledges them, a mother that shows up gets arrested. I would likely say that something bad happened that day, but again,
we've been told it's a movie. We've been told it's a show. I'm not
going to go all that deep with you, brother. I'm sorry.
Not on this show. We won't go deep.
I'm not going to go all that deep on you.
I'm not going to. I'm just saying. Do you know that? Do you know that's not true?
I don't think any of us.
Thanks, Mark.
Here, I could take you into something that's totally different then. What if everything we're watching is a lie from both sides?
That's possible too.
Don't
think
possible.
I haven't thought that.
What would your reason be that you would think that theory?
Oh,
your theory or my theory?
The one I just mentioned to you, that both sides are just acting out something.
Because I believe there's Satanists, and I believe there's Luciferian, and I believe they're both not good. but the Luciferians think they're bringing light, and a Satanist bring. Okay, what? Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No.
Oh, he said
no.
no.
I didn't.
I know. I
That's
did
why.
this
That's
time,
what I'm
brother.
talking, Sean. What do you mean? What's
I'm
nah?
just saying that I do know some Luciferians and Satanists. I do know them personally, and they really do not go out and do satanic things.
Well, once again,
It's just
maybe not
okay.
all of them, but you don't think any
I mean,
any of them do?
The people that I know, I don't know what the underground is. You could talk about the Illuminati. They're part of it.
Yeah. What about
But,
the Adrena? The
I never
Adreno.
heard of them.
Yeah.
But
Well,
No. Adreno's the red
yeah,
juice.
drink.
The red juice.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
ritual of the red juice.
Yeah.
Drinking
Okay.
of the
Well, who are
Red
those
juice.
people who do that?
I
Drinking of-
never, honestly, Boyd, I
I'm
never
not
heard
su-
of them. Never heard of them.
We're giving him a wake up call tonight. Yeah.
Never heard of them. But
Okay, let me give you just a quick theory. All right, everybody worldwide, wherever everybody's listening. By the way, thank you so much for joining in with me, Sean, tonight, and Boyd. Please like and share. All right, what if everything we're seeing is a lie? Two sides trying to figure out a better way to go into the future for other reasons than what many would be thinking. What if they know something that we need to prepare for? What if the ancient writings that say things have happened catastrophic, that come around every so many years, or the possibility of Earth being struck by something? Science says this, science says that, data says this, data says that. What if this is all to keep mass hysteria busy and stop you from looking up to understand that there could be a bigger development to this equation? And the only way to keep people so far out of touch with reality, to keep the world focused, is to only put them through a show.
that's a good theory, dude. That's a good theory. I like it when you come up with these theories because you make it so simple.
What
to
if it's all a
understand.
lie and it's only to protect our interests? Because look, if you travel down that road, we might be going into the future where if we don't bioengineer our foods due to a problem of devastation, we might not survive. Maybe 8 billion people cannot survive on the planet after such a devastational thing could occur. And I'm not going to land out there what I believe they are. There's many theories. There's many groups out there that already represent these theories. What if it's now? What if it's all because of something greater and anything to keep us off balance from ever knowing the truth? And when you look at everything, why the underground, everything was built, put in place, prepared for. Why the plastic containers were all previous. Now, I'm saying it could go either way. When you look at it, all I'm saying is, what if? It's all about something else.
I got to say this, man. See, to me, if they were doing that, it would be to protect the world from going into panic and attacking each other. Where to me, it seems like they're trying to provoke the world into going into panic and attacking each other.
Boyd, you're right. That's happening right now, dude.
But
I know, but I'm saying, I think what Michael just said, like if they're trying to just keep us distracted so we don't panic because something worse is coming, that would be like a good thing. Where I don't think what they're doing is any good thing. I think they're trying to make us angry and panic and fight each other because they want to, get rid of the population, quite frankly, lower the population.
I'm kind of old for this stuff, man. I think
I mean, I believe in the Georgia Guidestones. I believe in the facts of the reality. Yeah. And I'm not saying you're wrong on your theory of where you're coming from. You make good points. You do. But I could also go down 25 of them that could contradict them and make you say, what if? This guy might be starting to make sense. Look, I don't want to be right. Because something that big would mean civilization would have to start over.
You might be right. I'm not even saying you aren't. I'm just saying.
Hasn't it happened here before?
You never know. Yeah.
Hasn't it happened here before?
Yes, it probably has. It seems like it probably has.
Okay, so
sorry, Sean. Go ahead, buddy.
Ozzy sued Ozzie Sue says their plan is definitely to turn us more and more against each other.
That's
Yeah,
disgusting.
I see
I
it.
would
I
agree.
see it every day at work. I see it when I'm on the street. I see it when I go get gas at the gasoline station.
I agree. I'm not because I said what I said. It's just theory. Um,
Sure, I know.
and it's not even wishful thinking. I want to be wrong on all the elements. I'm
Right.
just creating conversation. That's
I
all.
just,
Yeah.
guys, I just want to have one day before I die. I want one day to where everybody gets along.
We are.
Well, we are.
We
I'm
are.
talking. I'm talking. I'm talking the whole world.
It's a
Everybody
start.
in the
I know,
world.
man. I know.
Yeah, maybe we can. I mean, how hard is it to go and give somebody a hug and tell
I
them,
know.
you know what, you're
It is.
okay. You're okay today.
Ooh, yeah, you better know them because if not, you know.
Then again, they're going to say, "Don't touch me." Then the
Yeah.
police get involved. Then you go to jail, and then it's
Yeah.
man. We never grew up like this.
No,
dude.
it's vicious. People were just they're like angry and vicious and just
Yeah.
distrustful. And I guess I'm not angry and vicious, but I am distrustful. I'll tell you that. I'm shocked. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're caught in that. All right, let's go to a different
All
place.
right, yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead.
I do have a question for you guys. Remember, I told you on Sunday. So Trump was pulled into New York, and he had a caravan with him, right, with all his, all them black things from the FBI or CIA, whoever watches them. But why was there an ambulance following him to where on other motorcades that I have seen where there is no ambulance? Did anyone find any answers?
I did look for the video. I didn't find that. I didn't look for the answer because I didn't know who to ask, to be quite honest with you. I could create a post, but I'm going to go with the theory that I think you delivered on Sunday night, where I think it was personalized to be there in the event of an emergency for the president or one of his predecessors.
Sure.
Whoa.
That sounds about right.
Wow, that's a great close-up of you.
Oh, man, why did I do this shit?
Just hit one of those buttons down. There you
There
go.
we go. We're better. Hi, Liz. How are you, buddy? Okay.
Hey, did you say hi to your cousin? Hey, Tony. He was in earlier. He said he shared, I think. Did you notice Tony was in?
No, I didn't, brother.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
I
pretty
didn't.
sure it was your cousin, Tony.
Yeah.
I said again, I still wonder, hey, how's a guy like an Irish guy like that get a name like Tony? Hey, Tony. I mean, hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Boyd, Liz says hello to you.
Hello, Liz. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Yeah, all of us.
Peace and love. Peace and love to everyone, man.
I
Just,
gotta be.
Yeah,
God, do we need it?
yes, that's what it really comes down to. I mean, really, no matter whatever else is on the table, belief, theory, none of that. Have fun, try to enjoy life the best we can, and like you said, peace and love. And we had seen that before. Remember when that once had a vibe and meant something? The Flower Childs, Woodstock,
Even the 70s. The 70s was
yes.
It was kind of peaceful for a while there.
Oh, they shot that down. It wasn't a good agenda. It was not a good agenda.
No.
Then you
It
had
wasn't.
the 30 Club, the mysterious 30s, where you lost your favorite rock stars, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
What is it? The 27 Club?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it's
Something
20.
like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of right there. 27. You're right. Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Joplin,
Yeah.
Hendrix. The list. There's a ton
Is
of them.
that? Do you think now you can? Here's a what if. I'm taking that little page off of Mike. What if these rock stars were actually saying something that the government didn't like, and all of a sudden, boom, we don't need you around no more, so we're going to do this to you.
Well, I can confirm one thing. Jim Morrison's father worked for the United States government in a very secretive place. And I do
Go ahead.
think that there may have been a song that really may have put them in a bad place, but I also know that there's other information. But again, I would just be creating another theory, and I'm already have that name. I'm the gatekeeper of being the conspiracy terrorist, along with Alex Jones and guys like that. And
Well,
I
supposedly
don't like that.
Morrison's dad was on the boat that supposedly either shot or claimed they got shot from Korea, which started the Korean or the Vietnam War. What I think the Vietnam War. I'm not sure. Did you ever hear that?
No, I never did.
I heard that being said, but
I don't know if it's true. No, I don't know if it's true.
yeah,
I've read things. Anyhow.
I think we all have, and that's why sometimes people say, "Why are you going all over the place?" It just happens. It's natural. Yeah. It's what we do. What do you guys want to talk about? Where do you want to go with this in the remaining time?
Paranormal, buddy. This is a paranormal show too.
Oh, it is paranormal, is it? Okay.
Too paranormal.
All right. So all right.
Trying to balance everything out a half hour.
Okay. Well, then this is the rest. The rest is on you. And no, in good ways. So let me see where I have it, because I wrote down some things that came from people who wanted me to ask some questions, but I got to find them. I was going through some other things here. I did make some notes. I just got to find them. Okay, one of them I know by heart. Why do you think that wheelchairs are always left behind in hospitals and the state asylums? It seems like to be one of the features always left behind.
That's interesting, Eddie. I never thought it up.
I guess here's my theory on that. Why they're left behind is because they are for the spirits who would want to sit in them.
That makes sense.
No,
I mean, we're answering it. You're answering it.
Ozzy Sue has a question. She says, has anyone noticed we're not seeing many actors, actresses, singers, and many other elites these days?
Yes.
Plus less and less music and movies being made.
Yes, I have. I see that. I've noticed that. I've seen that. I think something's happened there. I think something's happening, and I think some things have happened there. And I can't say more than that, basically. But yeah, I have noticed that. My wife and I talk about that quite frankly, frequently. Not quite frankly, but frequently.
So why do you think the wheelchairs are? Boyd, let me ask you that question.
I don't know. That's an interesting question, though, because, I was an x-ray technician, and I used to go into nursing homes and x-ray people and mental hospitals, and I've worked at hospitals. And you would think that would be something useful that they would take with them if they were shutting a place down. But I don't know. I mean, what you said is to leave them there for the people who were using them or whatever. But I don't know, unless there's like upgrades. So they figure that's an old one, like it's an old model and there's newer, better ones out. So they just leave the older ones there. I really don't know. But I thought that was an interesting question. It's something I never.
Yeah, it was very one.
Okay, I got something a little bit different while I'm looking for this.
Okay.
All right, and this is going to be out of the box, totally.
I like out of the box.
It comes with some really good data. Do you think water has intelligence?
I think so, and I'll tell you why. Because the water goes down the mountain or hills or whatever, the path of least resistance. Like they kind of know where to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it can self-mutate in a certain way.
Yes.
Not that it's mutating, but it has its own. Yeah.
I think everything does. I mean, I've heard experiments about plants and even water where they'll put a cup of water over here and like curse at it and say horrible things, and then another one over here where they tell it it's lovely and it's wonderful and stuff like that, and the other one will turn like filmy and dark, and the other one stays clear and clean. Same thing with plants. You speak to something like that, if you like curse it, God said, I put before you blessings and curses, choose blessings and choose life. Yeah. And I think everything has a certain amount of intelligence, whether it's water, plants, like all that stuff. I don't know.
All I'm going to say is, dude, look, I mean, anyway. Yeah. Right, so
what is that? What's the bell? I don't know. I've never been on this show.
So here's the deal. You're right on the money, but in the science, in the laboratory, this was done. This experiment was done. And they got like one of those tubes and put it down. But prior to it, they put the water in negative environment. And then they froze a droplet. Then they went over to the other water. Beautiful light, music, vibrations, higher consciousness. Froze it. On the one, when they froze it and you looked at it, the water just looked distorted and terrible. On the other one, it looked like a beautiful crystallized piece of jewelry, like a snowflake. And that's how they tested water for intelligence. You hit it right on the money.
Can I tell you one more thing real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because this is heavy, and if I don't say it, I'm going to forget.
Heavy.
There's a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talks about, they used to say that we can't grow neurons. After a certain age, our neurons are brain cells. You can't, like brain cells, you have a limited amount. Once they die, they're gone.
Yeah.
But that's not true. Because when they did those experiments, they did them on rats in a lab under circumstances where these rats had no chance of making a different decision. But if we actually use our brains to learn and make different decisions, we will create new brain cells and neurons within our hippocampus part of our brain, which is released throughout our body, and it creates stem cells and it's healing. So
your body can repair everything. Yeah. Wasn't it Dorothy? I can't think of her last name that always talked about it. She was an older woman, mystical, medium, and was able to connect to past life people. I believe she even won. I can't think of her last name off the top of my head. Everybody would know her face.
I think I know who you're talking about.
She even claimed that she had a conversation with Notre Dame. What's his name?
Nostradamus.
Yeah, Nostradamus himself, where he said life is present even with her right now, as he is not dead. And that was one of the comments that came back that she shared. And I was like, whoa, okay, that is like fascinating to hear. And that's part of the things of fun. Hey, did you know in 1946, a 14-year-old boy was the person who created the television?
No, I didn't know.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was only 14 years old. And then they tried to sue him. Phillips and all these other Magnavox and these TV people. And this kid was so brilliant, he saved every piece of paper and it didn't work. He won every lawsuit and litigation that occurred that went towards him. And they all wind up having, if they wanted to develop a TV to copy what he did, they had to all pay him.
Awesome.
The thing before he died said, this is the worst invention any man could have ever made.
Yeah. Well, it tells a vision and programs us. Right?
Yeah. Project Mockingbird and all those great things that are out there. Okay, let's get to the other thing. What are your thoughts on people connecting to, without using an EVP, connecting to whispers and hearing footsteps when you can hear them? I think this is exactly how they address the question for what we talked about when we were talking about paranormal on Sunday. Whispers and hearing footsteps without an EVP. I think the thing is it residual or is it intelligent because you're actually hearing it in real time?
It's both, I say. And like I told you a long time ago, whenever I had that, when I died that one time, I came back and it was like I started seeing and hearing and things that were not there. And I believe when something drastic happens to you in your life, you don't have to have a near-death experience. You don't have to die, but some major type of trauma that happened, it was taught to me that once something major, your major trauma happens to you, and if you die, your old spirit leaves and the new one jumps in. But also with that, um, it just seems like that your senses get a little bit more, you're more in tune. Do you know what I mean? Than
Yeah,
a normal
heightened.
person.
Yeah, and there was a question that came right after that about gut instincts. Are they what we have is our own physical psychic abilities?
Oh
So
yeah.
is gut instinct the same as that ability?
Um,
Because you feel it, or you assume like I have this creepy feeling something's by me, and maybe you're spooking yourself out. But do you think it's plausible that that connection is your gut feeling is part that you do have an ability and you just not using it maybe properly?
exactly. We all have the ability to sense things. Okay, it depends on how if you want to use it or not, and also for the people who are spiritual or in the spiritual part of the paranormal field, you have no choice. But it just seems like that what you feel, you have to trust what you feel. You have to trust what you see. You got to trust what you hear. Um, People hear things, but they don't trust what they hear, so they what. But to people who have a lot of sensitivity, they they have no choice. They hear it all the time.
Okay.
Boyd,
All right. What is the best
Yeah,
way
I
for
agree. I
people?
agree with what you said.
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No,
No, no,
no.
no.
I agree with basically everything you said. So that's. Go ahead.
Oh,
It's fine.
okay,
No,
okay.
He
I'm
was
not
right
gonna
on.
weigh. I'm not even gonna weigh a decision. I was trying, no, because I heard what he was saying, but at the same time, I was trying to focus on what would be the coolest one to bring
Yeah,
up
I
next.
think we got intuition, and some use it more than others. Basically, that's it.
That's a good way to put it.
yeah, I like that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really easy.
You're welcome.
All right, let's see if we can do this one easy. How do you differentiate from paranormal and sciences when you're in the field
Uh,
on a case?
That's
you
all you,
want
Sean.
that's on me. Thanks. Can you repeat that question?
Well, basically, I think this is how it was asked to me, so I can only put it out there the same way, or try to understand that they may have had a different thing that they were looking for when they asked it. Um,
Whenever you got people in a group, and then when I had PPS, okay, I always had somebody that was scientific with me. Okay. Um, so you had a big fight between the scientific people in the
mm,
group and the spiritual fight in the group.
right,
And you could never, ever, ever come to an agreement. You know what I mean? Like you go into a house and you hear noises. The scientists will say, well, that's just the pipes knocking, or there's a floorboard that's kind of loose. You know what I mean? Or they go out of their way to explain why it is not paranormal.
right,
Where the spiritualist who like kind of like knows what's happening, he agrees with it. You know, he agrees with what he believes in. And I tell you what, you cannot put a scientific person and a spiritual person in the same room because y'all will be button heads.
okay. Well, all right. I got one. I actually have a couple, but we'll do one more in case you want to go in a different direction.
No, no, this is it. The last half hour was for all paranormal, man.
Can I say
Okay.
this? I'm
Yeah.
scientific and spiritual, which maybe explains why I butt heads with myself so much. But don't seriously. Anyhow, go ahead.
Is that what all those bruises on your forehead are from,
Yes.
huh? There you
Absolutely.
go. There you go. There you go. Hey, I mean, we hear things like there's this, someone else in the world. He's going to be like your doppelganger. He's going to be your second. He's going to look just like you. He's going to sound like. I mean, who knows? Maybe. You know, there's people out there that resemble a lot of people. Okay, so the next one was self-illuminating objects like orbs and light streaks. How do you? Hey, Dave Glovin, how are you, brother? How do you feel
Hey, Dave.
about the faculties and the indifferences on those
Hmm.
self-illuminating objects, orbs and light streaks, like the pencil light?
They call them rods, or I call them
Yeah.
squigglies. I call them squigglies. I'm glad you brought that up. When it comes down to the squigglies, for me, I don't have a clue, dude. Um, there's a photographer here in Pittsburgh. He's well known. I was going to get a hold of him and show some of the pictures that we got, and have him try to explain on the rods. Okay. Um, but with the orbs, there are orbs that are mist. There are orbs that is pollen. There is orbs that is water. Okay. To me, an orb that is really light, okay, doesn't really come out and show its brightness. To me, that's either pollen, rain, depends on wherever you're at. Dust is huge. But whenever you take a picture and you have that paranormal experience, okay, and someone takes a picture and you have a round orb that big and it's really solid white, no problem. To me, that is a spirit on that.
Okay. Um, I'm going to ask you something. This isn't coming from anybody else, but it's something that we came up with in past conversations, maybe a couple weeks ago. Do you think the theory of the colors do have different representations to the orbs?
I doubt it. No, I don't. I
Okay.
really don't. I mean,
Yeah, I
someone,
don't know how to weigh that either. I mean, we only can go by people that wrote books and have tried to explain some of these anomalies and so forth. So
well,
I,
we do have a picture of a green orb next to the Shadow Man.
yeah,
Um, but with that orb being close to the grass or like on top of the grass, all my life I've been saying, that green orb is actually an animal orb, animal spirit. But the more I think about it and the more I really look at that picture, it's just the orb lit up and illuminated green from the grass.
yeah. Well, a lot of people take people's writings as factual, and we don't always know. And I'm not trying to diss on anybody, but I mean, hypothetically, they could be right. I don't know, but I'm going to give you something that may be just a little better. Do storms change the outcome of hauntings on an investigation?
Oh yeah,
Could you
absolutely.
would you explain how then? I think that's what they want to know, really.
Okay.
I hope you
When
guys are watching.
honest to Pete, honest to God. Oh yeah, definitely. Whenever there's a major like a thunderstorm or a lightning and thunderstorm, the energy in the air is so intense that it's usually you get a lot of evidence. That's the word I want to say. When you go out and it's like 98 degrees and humidity and people are miserable, yeah, you really don't get nothing like that good. But yeah, the temperature change with the weather, the lightning, the thunder.
Do
Yeah,
you think it
there's
raises like the electromagnetic
yes, it
energy on
does.
the earth? Like it
It
kind of,
does. And then also too, if you go to places, and you're getting all this EMF going on, always look up because there's also, whenever we did houses, there's power lines that cross that house. Okay. And the power lines release a lot of EMF. And EMF really messes with a person's brain. And I'll explain. Okay. We did a place out in, I think it was in Butler. Um, and the reason why they called us that his son uh, had real bad marks on his arm, right? Real bad, red. It was really bad. And they thought he was being attacked by a ghost. Come to find out, we went down to the fuse box. That's the first thing we do when we investigate. We go to the fuse box and we actually see what type of tube, like wiring, is in the house. If it's knob and tubing, then that released such a massive EMF. So all through that house was a knob and tubing. So we put the EMF detector right next to the outlet in which he was sleeping, okay? And that's what was affecting his Skinner.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are things that I believe in this world that do have a science of outcome. So, as you said, in some cases, that balance makes sense to always have in place, even though there's going to be argumentative moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I want to go to a little bit different of a place. Something that I found that I just wanted to share that I had for Sunday that I did not get to get it out. And I thought this was really a fact that should be talked about more that people don't. Just like you the other night, you said, Boyd, that you went out on the porch and, da 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 da, things are,
Yeah, just saw some strange stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on September 29th, 2014, wasn't the first encounter of what was being seen. It also occurred in 1984, 1983. But on September 29, 2014, in Hudson Valley on Route 118, right outside of New York City, near a military base, just saying, even a police officer stopped dead in his tracks to observe, with 80 other people that were out of their cars watching a hovering but ever so slowly moving triangle-shaped craft where at each point had a light. It made no sound. If anything, it was a very minor hum. And that sound, described by one of the witnesses, says it could have been while the lights were activated.
Hmm.
So this happened where 80 people, could 80 people be that delusional? All of them at the same time, having the same story, describing the craft being 1,000 feet to 2,000 feet up, possibly. People standing again outside of their cars, watching it all. The only thing we do know is there is a military testing something that is never really shared upon in that area. But it made, I think, somewhat to their newspapers and so forth up in the area. And I thought that was really fascinating because they now claim, going into where we are at this date, that it seems like it's an occurrence constantly of these types of crafts, always these types, the triangles going in that direction, always in the same direction. I wonder if they're scoping out, or if in ways, because some people say they'll see these ships go from one point to another point, then from one point to another point. And I wonder if they're GPSing our planet somehow, that maybe they have an interest to know all the faculties of what this planet is for maybe a different agenda, maybe because I don't know, maybe because I really don't know. But people have also witnessed that and theorized around events like that. What I'm describing now, that particular type of movement may have something to do with the fact that they are recreating, mapping us out, and with this planet being mapped out.
I'm glad you said that, brother, because the other day, was it yesterday, I went to St. Clair Hospital and I got a sonogram done on my thyroid, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm watching it on the video about them going back and forth on my chest. What you said, they probably are doing us like a type of sonogram of the earth. Think about it. If that thing could just get on my chest and move it, and she moved it back and forth, all right, and it like covered this whole area in my chest where the thyroid was. I'm telling you what, it's possible they were doing the same thing. And the red lights that people saw on the tips of the ship, they probably were actually releasing noises as they were taking, I want to say taking pictures of where they were at.
Yeah, I mean, we know now that we have equipment that is used for as a deep penetrating radar that finds ancient cities buried underneath the sands and anywhere. Actually, it can remove all the greenage and show you the natural element of anything that's left there. It has that type of ability. So possibly just what you said there, maybe that is it all in the bag of nuts. Who knows? And with those nuts and bolts, I don't know. But I thought that it was kind of interesting to come up with these theories of things being said, and the fact that Hudson Bay is Hudson Valley, not Bay, but Valley is one of these other hotspots going on. But again, we hear many countries, uh, Mexico, Chile. I mean, even in Pennsylvania here, it's being more widely said that we're having
Yes.
numerous amounts of sightings, and it makes me wonder. Plus, not only that, these sudden skyquakes. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but up in towards
No.
Canada, they were going through them where the houses were being shook, not from hauntings, but from whatever was occurring. Now, is the military in some way letting these crafts that we own come in and they're breaking the sound barrier? Because that's kind of like what it is.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I
It,
have been on top of my mountain up there in Carnes, and I would welcome you guys to come up and have a fire and check it out. These type of things have been going on now for 4 to 5 years. And here's the hard factor that makes me and always say that what they use in the daytime under the sun and dim program of the cloak, you can't see what's causing it if it's up there. Like, all of a sudden, boom, and it's like I'm looking at my kids, and so what the hell had happened again? What is, you go outside and you can't see a damn thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they did what was best for humanity. They sprayed, they crop dusted us again. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But I mean, no, you can't. But we are hearing more about this occurrences. The thing is that I call them skyquakes. I came up with that little fragment of a term because to me, some people are saying they're sonic booms or they're military coming in. But I always thought, now, Sean, you're a military guy.
Yep.
They don't let these particular types of aircrafts go over residential areas. They are normally have to take mapped out areas and routes in order to come in to land and go through that process where the big boom, occurs as
They
break
could.
that
They
down.
couldn't. They couldn't go into their afterburners over a house. It would destroy it. Really.
Right. So
Um.
here we have that whole scenario. Listen, everybody, if you hear these sounds, that's all I can tell you. And one other thing just to mention, because to back it up a little bit further, just for a second, I believe Linda Moulton Howe had tried to touch down on this topic. I desperately tried to get in touch with her, but she has thousands of people to do it because I was going through it and I just wanted to share some of the scenario of what it was because for 3, 4 summers, this doesn't happen in cold weather.
No, just hot.
Yes, exactly. And the other thing I was wondering, could the poles be moving and that, because we were getting that whole theory, the poles are shifting. Everybody was seeing that, was like, oh my God, the world's going to end. Solar flares are coming from the sun. Everybody run. That was just on the news the other day that they found a hole and the winds are going to come now. And they're going to, that's why I brought up part of that what if theory. We don't know what to believe, but they're throwing it and conditioning us with so much baloney. It may be important to get out there. But then again, what if it's just the whole pole shift thing? Just same as the weather in the Northeast being warmer. We know if you look at what the drilling of the ice cores showed, we're just going through a normality. This is what we do in this whole vastness of the universe. It's part of what Earth does.
Okay, Sean has a question, and we're gonna have to be wrapping it up in about 5 minutes here.
Oh, man, already?
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours, dude. It's
Go
great
ahead,
show,
man. Lay it on Boyd. He'll have fun.
Okay.
No, I don't know this. I don't even know what the Bridgewater Triangle is.
Got any stories from
Yeah,
the
all right,
Bridgewater Triangle?
Well, I know about it. Of course. I mean, there's triangles all over the place. Um, they're mysterious. That part of that EMP that I was discussing on Sunday of where we were trying to find out things, why compasses go nuts, and things of that. And then you have the vanished in some cases where things are never found again. So there's triangles all over the place. There really are.
But the Bridgewater, we did a show on the Bridgewater Triangle, and it is like definitely haunted. In fact, Sean, when you come on my show, I'll tell you the guy who talked about that. His name is Balzano, I think it is. I'll get back to you on that. And then,
yeah, I don't know that name. I don't know that name, to be honest with you.
He wrote a couple books on the Bridgewater Triangle.
Okay.
So, and Christopher Balzano, something like that. But I'll get back to you.
But isn't it funny that all these triangles act the same way or come with a mystery?
Why are they always pyramid? Why is everything pyramid shaped? Like just
true.
You know,
we got Virgil from Manchester, England.
Hey, Virgil.
Welcome, Virgil. But we got a couple more minutes. Any last comments you want to make? We'll start with Boyd.
Oh, you know what? I'll make one comment. It's going to be a biblical comment, but I'm going to just say
it's okay.
You know, Jesus said, "Whatever you ask in prayer, believing you have received it, and then you'll receive it." Basically, I think there's a lot of times. I think Jesus taught, and I talked about this the other night, but I think he taught the law of attraction a lot more than people realize. I think he taught us that if we truly believe, like really believe, because I think a lot of times we think we're believing and we're hoping, and we're kind of like, well, maybe it'll have I mean, he was just sure. And I don't know. I think we can do a lot more than we realize. And I don't think we tap into our brains or our spirits or anything else as much as we can. And if we did, I think what he told us could happen more often. There you go.
Thank you, Boyd.
That was
Michael.
nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to be here next week, Tuesday at 7:10. On Chasing Prophecy. If you want to friend me on Facebook, please do it under Michael Anthony, or check out one of my other fun times that I do. You'll see plenty of platform shows that come across with different messages. I just enjoy everybody, and I want to say stay healthy. Look for the best water that you can find. We're finding out things there that aren't really good, so just pay close attention. Be healthy. Grow your own foods if you can. Get chickens. Trust your own meats. Things like that. On a positive note, just because I care about you, and I do. And I want you to focus in that direction. If you can't, stay away from processed foods. They seem to be more harmful than good, even if they get you out of a dilemma in a quick minute.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Dave, very much. He said, great show, gentlemen. Well, next week we have a gentleman. His name is Daniel James, and he's an actor and a filmmaker. But he also does a lot of alien investigations too. And a lot of my friends have told me that this guy is like really, really good at presenting stuff. So his name is Daniel James. And on my show tonight, I'm going to have Sean G. and Chasing the Truth. So at 10 o'clock, come back over and then enjoy the show. And on that, thank you, everybody. Good night. And
wait, hey, don't wrap up yet, handsome.
Okay, I'm not wrapping up yet.
I was going to let you wrap up, but we got a couple other things going on. Sean hasn't. He heard me talking about it last night, but I wanted to just mention it tight. So we in Writers of the Future are giving away a three-day, 2-night trip to Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. It's going to be for the gala event for Writers of the Future, which is going to be on the 28th of this month. So I guess they're going to bring you the day before, the day of, and then they're going to send you back home. Now, they always put us up in nice hotels. Last 2 years, it's been the Roosevelt. This year, it's going to be the Lowe's Hotel. They fly you in. The only thing you got to pay for is your own food. It's a black tie event, so you want to bring a tux with you or something, or dress, but they pay for everything else. They'll fly you from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You can fly down. We're going to tomorrow at 6:00. We'll be actually talking about more of the details. Then after that, I'll go into a promo commercial for the rest of the station. And somebody who asked me this earlier, yes, guests are allowed to participate. Hosts are not, unfortunately. But any guest who's been on the network are more than welcome to, fill out the thing and do whatever to get in. I'm just giving everybody. I'm trying to give everybody a heads up early, so because it's going to probably be a really short contest. I doubt it's going to be more than a week. So I just want to give everybody a heads up. That way, if they want to get involved or try to win to go out to Los Angeles, I'm going to be out there too, guys. So you get to torture me. I'm out there for 8 days. So
thank you, Joe.
I'll be out there. So anyway, I'll shut up and let
Thanks, Joe.
Sean have a
Thank
show
you,
back.
Joe. Yeah. Okay. So if everybody, thank you again for watching Chasing Prophecy. We'll be back here 7:10 next Tuesday. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.